Welcome to my channel. Subscribe, listen, and enjoy my stories every day.
I am 48 years old, and the world knows me as an artist. My canvases usually capture the essence of love and devotion, inspired by my muse and wife, Amy. We met in college, a time brimming with idealism and dreams, and soon she became the heart of my artwork. My studio is cluttered with pieces that portray her gaze, her smile, her melancholy. Yet despite their intimacy and detail, my paintings have never commanded high prices. At one gallery show, a famous critic paused in front of a piece that I considered a masterpiece, scrutinized it, and muttered a single word, falsity, before walking away. I was bewildered, unsure of his meaning. Today, however, that word haunts me, echoing in my thoughts with a new, painful clarity. This morning began like any other. I brewed coffee and walked into my studio, planning to add the finishing touches to my latest painting, a portrait of Amy, radiant and serene. But my brush hovered, unsteady. The revelation of Amy's infidelity last night shattered the image I had of her and, consequently, the truth in my paintings. The morning sun casts a different light on my canvases now, and I find myself scrutinizing them, searching for the falsity that the critic had seen. Was it something in her eyes? A lack of authenticity in her smile that I had failed to notice, blinded by love. As I ruminate, the phone rings, jarring the silence of my studio. It's Amy, her voice cheerful, unaware of my turmoil. "Hey love, I'll be out late with friends today. Don't wait up." Her words sting, a stark contrast to my somber mood. "Okay, take care," I reply, trying to keep my voice even. The call ends, and a heavy sigh escapes me. Driven by a restless energy, I decide to leave the unfinished painting for now. Instead, I organize my old sketches and materials, a mundane task that I hope will distract me. As I sift through the stacks, an old photo falls out, a snapshot of Amy and me in Paris, young and wildly in love, oblivious to the shadow of betrayal that would loom over us years later. I spend the next few hours lost in memories, both sweet and bitter. The studio feels smaller somehow, crowded with the ghosts of a past that now seems as much a lie as my paintings. As the day wanes, a plan begins to form in my mind, born from the ashes of my broken heart. If my love was a facade that sold for nothing, perhaps the truth of betrayal would be more valuable. Tonight, I will start a new painting, not of the Amy I thought I knew, but of the real one, tainted by the colors of deceit. The echoes of falsity merge with the clatter of my brushes and the whisper of the canvas. I am no longer painting to capture beauty, I am painting to expose a lie. This new direction feels raw, painful yet genuine. Maybe this time, the critics will see the truth. Maybe this time, they will understand the pain hidden beneath the strokes. Tonight, I paint not for love, but for revelation. The bustling streets of Paris stretch before me as I finish my croissant at a sidewalk cafe. The Artists' Festival had ended a few days earlier than expected, freeing me to return home. Excitement fills me as I imagine Amy's surprise at my early return. I take a final sip of my coffee, savoring its rich bitterness, and set off for the airport, a renewed sense of purpose in each step. The flight home is uneventful, giving me ample time to plan my evening. I envision a quiet night with Amy, perhaps a glass of wine and a cozy chat by the fireplace. As the plane touches down, I feel a surge of anticipation, eager to share the success and stories from the festival with her. When I finally arrive home, the house is eerily silent. I call out her name, expecting her to appear, but there's no response. A note on the kitchen counter catches my eye. It reads, "Out with friends. Don't wait up." I sigh, disappointment mingling with confusion. I glance at the clock, it's still early in the evening. Something doesn't feel right. Deciding not to dwell on it, I head to my studio, my sanctuary where creativity flows and time ceases to exist. As I push open the door, a strange scent hits me, paint, mixed with something else. My heartbeat quickens. I step inside, and the sight before me makes my blood run cold. In the middle of my studio, amidst my canvases and paints, lies Amy. Naked. And beside her, an equally naked man. They are entangled, oblivious to my presence. Paints of various colors are smeared across their bodies and my unfinished work, creating a grotesque parody of the masterpiece I had envisioned. My heart pounds in my chest, each beat echoing the word falsity that had haunted me since that critic's sneer. Amy! I shout, my voice trembling with a mixture of rage and despair. They jolt apart, eyes wide with shock and fear. Amy scrambles to cover herself, her face a mask of guilt and panic. The man beside her, someone I've never seen before, fumbles for his clothes. Richard, I can explain, Amy stammers, but her words are drowned out by the roar in my ears. Explain. I laugh bitterly. Explain how you've desecrated not just our marriage but my work, my sanctuary. The man mutters an apology, hastily gathering his belongings and bolting from the studio. Amy, now wrapped in a paint-stained sheet, looks at me with tear-filled eyes. Please, Richard, let me. Get out, I say, my voice cold and unyielding. Get out of my sight. She hesitates for a moment, then flees, leaving me alone in the wreckage of my dreams. I stand there, staring at the ruined painting, its colors now a chaotic mess. A plan begins to form in my mind, dark and vengeful. If the truth is what the world wants, then the truth is what they shall have. The following days are a blur of furious activity. I work tirelessly in my studio, channeling my pain and betrayal into the canvas. Friends and fellow artists notice my changed demeanor. One evening, Jake, an old college friend and fellow artist, stops by. Richard, you've been holed up in here for days. What's going on? He asks, concern etched on his face. I turn to him, my eyes burning with intensity. I've discovered a new truth, Jake. And it's time the world sees it. He looks puzzled but doesn't press further. Instead, he offers his help, sensing the gravity of my resolve. Together, we prepare for the upcoming exhibition, the centerpiece of which will be my new painting, an unflinching portrayal of Amy's betrayal. I name it, The Fake. On the day of the exhibition, the gallery buzzes with anticipation. Critics, collectors, and art enthusiasts fill the space, eager to see my latest work. I stand beside the covered painting, my heart pounding in my chest. Amy is not here, she knows better than to show her face. But I feel her presence, like a shadow looming over me. When the moment arrives, I step forward and address the crowd. Thank you all for coming. Tonight, I unveil a piece that reveals a painful truth, a truth that has shattered my life and my art. This is The Fake. I pull back the covering, revealing the painting. Gasps ripple through the crowd. The painting is raw, visceral, capturing the moment of betrayal with brutal honesty. Colors clash and swirl chaotically, reflecting the turmoil within me. A hush falls over the gallery. Then, slowly, applause begins to build. Among the crowd, I spot the critic who once dismissed my work as falsity. He approaches, his expression unreadable. Mr. Richard, he says, this is profound. The pain, the truth, it's all here. I nod, unable to speak. The painting sells for an exorbitant sum, more than any of my previous works. But it's not the money that matters. It's the validation, the recognition of the truth I've laid bare. As the evening winds down, I find a quiet corner, my mind a whirlwind of emotions. Jake joins me, a glass of wine in hand. You did it, Richard, he says, clinking his glass against mine. You turned your pain into something extraordinary. I smile faintly, the weight of my journey settling on me. Yes, but at what cost? Jake pats my shoulder. Sometimes, the greatest art comes from the deepest wounds. You've shown the world your truth. Now it's time to heal. I nod, knowing he's right. The path ahead is uncertain, but one thing is clear: I am no longer painting for love or approval. I am painting for the truth, however painful it may be. And in that truth, I find a new beginning. The morning sun filters through the blinds, casting a warm glow over my studio. The echoes of last night's exhibition still reverberate in my mind. The fake is gone, sold to the highest bidder, and with it, a piece of my soul. I feel both lighter and heavier, free of the burden of my secrets, yet laden with the consequences of exposing them. As I sip my coffee, the studio door creaks open. Jake steps in, his face alight with excitement. "Richard, you did it. The critics are raving about The Fake. You've become the talk of the art world overnight." I nod, a small smile tugging at the corners of my lips. "It's strange, Jake. I poured my pain into that painting, and now it's my most successful piece." "Pain has a way of resonating with people," Jake says, his tone thoughtful. "But what's next for you? How do you top that?" I set my cup down, a determined look in my eyes. "Revenge, Jake. I've exposed the truth of Amy's betrayal, but I'm not done. There's more to this story." Jake raises an eyebrow. "Revenge? What are you planning?" Before I can answer, the phone rings, cutting through the tension. I glance at the caller ID. It's Lydia, my gallery agent. I pick up, curiosity piqued. "Richard, darling. Last night was a triumph." Lydia's voice is effervescent. "But we need to keep this momentum going. I've had several offers for interviews and features. Everyone wants a piece of you right now." I sigh, rubbing my temples. "I appreciate it, Lydia, but I need some time. There are things I need to deal with first." Of course," she replies, her tone softening. "But don't take too long. The art world has a short memory." As I hang up, Jake watches me intently. "You're serious about this revenge, aren't you?" I meet his gaze, my expression unwavering. "Yes, I am. Amy needs to understand the full weight of what she's done. And the world needs to see the real her." Jake shakes his head, a mixture of admiration and concern in his eyes. "Just be careful, Richard. Don't let your anger consume you." I nod, knowing he's right but unable to quell the fire burning within me. After Jake leaves, I spend the rest of the day in a haze of activity, planning my next steps. I know Amy will be at her friend Claire's house tonight. She mentioned it in passing before everything fell apart. As evening approaches, I prepare myself for the confrontation ahead. I drive to Claire's house, my mind a whirlwind of emotions. When I arrive, I see Amy's car parked outside. I take a deep breath, steeling myself for what's to come. I ring the doorbell, and a moment later, Claire opens the door, her eyes widening in surprise. "Richard? What are you doing here?" "I need to speak with Amy," I say, my voice calm but firm. Claire hesitates, then steps aside. "She's in the living room." I walk in, my heart pounding in my chest. Amy is sitting on the couch, her face pale as she sees me. "Richard, what are you doing here?" I sit down across from her, the tension between us palpable. "We need to talk, Amy." She swallows hard, glancing at Claire, who quietly excuses herself, leaving us alone. "About what?" Amy asks, her voice barely above a whisper. "About us. About what you did," I reply, my tone steady. Amy's eyes fill with tears. "Richard, I'm so sorry. I never meant to hurt you." I take a deep breath, my anger simmering just beneath the surface. "Sorry isn't enough, Amy. You betrayed me. You betrayed everything we had. She sobs, her shoulders shaking. I know. I was weak, and I made a terrible mistake. But I still love you. Love? I scoff. You call this love? You destroyed everything I believed in. Amy looks up, her eyes pleading. Please, Richard, give me a chance to make it right. I stand up, my resolve hardening. I can't, Amy. The damage is done. But I want you to know that this isn't over. The world will see the truth, just like they saw it in the fake. I turn and walk out, leaving her sobbing on the couch. As I drive home, a plan begins to take shape in my mind. If I'm going to show the world the real Amy, I need to dig deeper, find the roots of her betrayal, and expose them for all to see. Back in my studio, I start working on a new series of paintings. Each one will capture a different aspect of our relationship, from the early days of love and passion to the bitter end of deceit and betrayal. I want the world to see the full spectrum of what we had and what we lost. Over the next few weeks, I immerse myself in my work, barely eating or sleeping. The paintings come to life, each stroke of the brush a cathartic release of the pain and anger that has consumed me. I pour my heart and soul into each piece, determined to create something that will make the world understand my suffering. As the series nears completion, Lydia calls again, her voice brimming with excitement. Richard, I've secured a solo exhibition for you at one of the most prestigious galleries in New York. This is your chance to make a statement. I agree, knowing this is the perfect opportunity to unveil my latest work. The exhibition will be called The Truth Unveiled, a fitting title for the raw, unfiltered portrayal of my life with Amy. On the night of the exhibition, the gallery is packed with critics, collectors, and art enthusiasts. I stand in the center of the room, my heart racing as I prepare to reveal my new series. The tension is palpable, the air thick with anticipation. Lydia steps up to the podium, her voice clear and confident. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight. It is my great pleasure to present the latest works of Richard Hayes, a collection that is as powerful as it is personal. Without further ado, I give you The Truth Unveiled. I step forward, my hands trembling slightly as I pull back the curtain to reveal the first painting. Gasps fill the room as the audience takes in the raw, emotional scenes depicted on the canvas. Each painting is a window into my soul, a testament to the love, betrayal, and pain that have defined my life. As the night progresses, I watch as the crowd moves from painting to painting, their expressions a mix of awe and empathy. The critic who once dismissed my work as falsity approaches me, his demeanor markedly different this time. Richard, this is extraordinary, he says, his voice filled with genuine admiration. You've captured something truly profound here. I nod, a sense of vindication washing over me. Thank you. This is my truth. The exhibition is a resounding success, with several pieces selling for record prices. But more importantly, it has allowed me to reclaim my narrative, to show the world the reality of my experience. As the night comes to a close, I stand alone in the gallery, a sense of peace settling over me. I've confronted my pain and channeled it into something meaningful. And in doing so, I've begun to heal. But I know this is just the beginning. The journey ahead is still uncertain, and there are more truths to uncover, more wounds to mend. For now, though, I am content to take it one step at a time, armed with the knowledge that I have the strength to face whatever comes next. The weeks following the New York exhibition are a whirlwind of acclaim and recognition. The Truth Unveiled has solidified my place in the art world, and for the first time in years, I feel a sense of peace. But amidst the accolades, a gnawing emptiness remains. My revenge on Amy, while cathartic, has not healed the wounds left by her betrayal. One evening, as I'm sketching in my studio, the doorbell rings. I open the door to find Amy standing there, her eyes puffy from crying. For a moment, neither of us speaks. Then, she breaks the silence. "Richard, please. Can we talk?" Her voice is trembling. I step aside, allowing her to enter. We sit across from each other, the studio eerily silent except for the distant hum of city life. "I saw your exhibition," Amy begins, her eyes fixed on the floor. "You've always been talented, but it was something else. I've never felt so exposed." I remain silent, waiting for her to continue. "I'm not here to ask for forgiveness," she says, her voice steadying. "I know I don't deserve it. But I need to explain. I need you to understand why I did what I did." A bitter laugh escapes me. "Why, Amy? Why would you destroy everything we had?" She takes a deep breath, tears streaming down her face. "Because I was scared, Richard. Scared of losing myself in your shadow. Your art, your passion, it consumed us. I felt like I was disappearing, like I was nothing more than your muse." I frown, her words piercing through the fog of anger and betrayal. "You could have talked to me, Amy. We could have worked through it together." "I tried," she whispers. "But every time I brought it up, you'd get lost in your work, in your obsession with perfection. I felt so alone, and then I met someone who made me feel seen." Her confession cuts deep, and for the first time, I see the truth in her eyes. The same truth I had tried to capture in my paintings. "Who was he?" I ask, my voice barely a whisper. "His name was Tom," she replies, wiping her tears. "He was an artist too, struggling to find his place. We connected over our shared frustrations, and it just happened." I close my eyes, the weight of her words settling over me. "And now? Where is he now?" Amy shakes her head. "He's gone, Richard. It was never serious between us. I ended it before your exhibition, but the damage was already done." We sit in silence for a moment, the air thick with unspoken words. Finally, I speak. "I don't know if I can ever forgive you, Amy. But I can try to understand." She looks up, hope flickering in her eyes. "Thank you, Richard. That's all I can ask." After she leaves, I feel a strange sense of clarity. Her betrayal was not just a reflection of her flaws but of mine as well. I had been so consumed by my art that I had lost sight of the person who inspired it. Determined to confront the past and find a way forward, I decide to visit Tom. I find his address through mutual artist acquaintances and drive to his small apartment on the outskirts of the city. The building is old and worn, a stark contrast to the gleaming galleries where my work is displayed. When Tom opens the door, he looks surprised but not hostile. "Richard," he says, stepping aside to let me in. "I didn't expect to see you here." I walk into his modest living room, noticing the unfinished canvases and scattered art supplies. "I need to understand," I begin. "I need to know why." Tom sighs, running a hand through his disheveled hair. "I didn't set out to hurt you, Richard. Amy and we were both lost in our own ways." "Lost?" I echo, struggling to keep my anger in check. "She felt invisible," Tom explains. "And I was searching for validation. We found solace in each other's company, but it was never meant to be more than a distraction." I study him, seeing the genuine remorse in his eyes. "So, it was just an escape for both of you?" "Yes," he replies, meeting my gaze. "But it was wrong. We both knew it." As I leave Tom's apartment, a sense of closure begins to take shape. The pieces of the puzzle are starting to fit together, and I realize that my revenge, while justified, was only a part of the healing process. I need to confront the underlying issues that led to this betrayal. Back at my studio, I immerse myself in a new project. This time, it's not about exposing the past but about rebuilding the future. I start a series called Rebirth, focusing on renewal and forgiveness. Each canvas depicts a journey from darkness to light, reflecting my own path towards understanding and acceptance. One afternoon, as I'm putting the finishing touches on the final piece, Jake stops by. "Richard, you've been quiet lately. How's the new series coming along?" I step back from the canvas, smiling. "Better than I expected. It's been therapeutic." Jake looks at the painting, his eyes widening in admiration. "These are incredible, Richard. They're so different from your previous work." "I've learned a lot about myself," I say, wiping my hands on a rag. "About what I need to change." He nods, understanding. "And Amy?" "We're talking," I reply. "It's not easy, but we're trying to find common ground." As the opening night for Rebirth approaches, I feel a mixture of excitement and apprehension. This series is my most personal yet, a testament to my growth and healing. When the gallery fills with guests, I take a moment to reflect on my journey. The pain, the betrayal, the revenge, it all led me to this point. Lydia, ever the supportive agent, takes the stage to introduce the new collection. "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the unveiling of Richard Hayes' latest series, Rebirth. This collection is a powerful exploration of renewal and forgiveness, a true testament to the resilience of the human spirit." As the curtain falls, revealing the first painting, I scan the crowd. Among the sea of faces, I spot Amy. She stands near the back, her expression a mixture of pride and sorrow. Our eyes meet, and for the first time, I see a glimmer of hope. After the formalities, I find Amy by the refreshments table. "I'm glad you came," I say, offering her a glass of wine. She takes it, her hand trembling slightly. "I wouldn't miss it. These paintings, they're beautiful, Richard." "Thank you," I reply, feeling a warmth spread through me. "They're as much about you as they are about me." She nods, tears brimming in her eyes. "I know. And I'm sorry for everything." "I am too," I say, placing a hand on her shoulder. "But we have a chance to start over, to rebuild what was broken." As the night progresses, I feel a sense of peace that has eluded me for so long. The critics are effusive in their praise, and the paintings sell quickly, but it's the personal victories that matter most. Amy and I talk, really talk, for the first time in years. We laugh, reminisce, and begin to heal the wounds that once seemed insurmountable. In the weeks that follow, Amy and I continue to rebuild our relationship. It's not easy, and there are still moments of pain and regret, but we face them together, determined to learn from the past and create a better future. One evening, as we sit on the porch of our home, watching the sun set, Amy turns to me. "Richard, do you think we can ever truly forgive each other?" I take her hand, squeezing it gently. "I think we already have. And now, it's about moving forward, one step at a time." She smiles, resting her head on my shoulder. "I like that. One step at a time." As the last rays of sunlight fade, I realize that this journey, with all its twists and turns, has led me to a place of understanding and acceptance. The revenge that once consumed me has transformed into a desire for growth and renewal. And in this new chapter of our lives, Amy and I are writing a story of redemption, resilience, and, ultimately, love. And so, the final brushstroke is not one of anger or retribution, but of hope. The canvas of our lives, once marred by betrayal, is now a testament to the power of forgiveness and the beauty of starting anew.